Try and keep it short and sweet today. Right. Let's start off with the fresh BTC chart. I posted some stuff on Twitter, some stuff on the Binance feed, and we're going to have a look at this and some fractals that make sense, right? It's just the model that we've been talking about for the past few months. It's all the same thing. So on a monthly time frame, we have the BPR all the way up here, right? You know that. Price moved through this 1, 2, 3, 4 times. So this is the monthly BPR, and then the equilibrium of that being around 45,385. Now, if we had to take the RD50 model, which was the equilibrium of the OLR, or the liquidity run, so if we used this as the accumulation, this as the failure swing, and this as the OLR, and then we had the push down, what would we be looking for next, right? Retrace. Retrace can either go push straight up, or we could put in a failure swing here, and then another OLR all the way up here. Crypto niche, there's a free Telegram channel, you can have a look at that in my bio. Right. Our job here now is, if the draw on liquidity, and I'm going to do it in terms of the last delivery, right? The last delivery being from the all-time high all the way down to here is our dealing range, right? And what I'm going to do here, we are going to take it as if none of this happened here, right? Don't worry about all this that happened here. I'm not interested in what happened here. Let's do that. Let's do that, right? Bring this to the front. There we go. So if you're looking at the delivery just like this, then what needs to happen? We can see that we had an up candle here, and this is all filled and balanced, right? We had an up candle here and a down candle here, making this bit a BPR in itself. Agree? Then we had an order block here all the way up here, and everything below this line here, and this line is going to be important in another way soon. Anything below here, let's make this one purple, anything below that line is all sell side delivery, right? Which means they need to print an up candle on a monthly level here, which balances out this range here. So all of this is balanced here. Up candles came in and balanced out here. We need at some point to start putting in a monthly candle, an up candle in this range, because everything below this is all running on sell side. So that can either happen in two ways, and could be a straight push up, we don't know. If we see some resistance somewhere around here, more or less where we are, we'll go down to a weekly. We could get a retrace like that, and then a further push up there, right? But the target being 46k, but ideally taking longer in time, meaning we push down and then we push up like that. Let's go down to a weekly. Now this here today is really important, right? In terms of a daily level. In terms of a weekly, let's go down to a daily. In terms of a daily level, if I had to do the same thing and ignore anything that happened right here. Let's say we didn't look at this and this was the delivery. Then we can see we had an order block up here. We had a massive order block here. And everything below this line, let's call it here for example, right? Anything below that line, 29,688, is running on sell side, all sell side. So what needed to happen is they need to print an up candle in there. So depending how today closes, yesterday could have just, yesterday was just shy, right? If you look here, yesterday was just shy of closing in an up candle at the purple line. So today's daily close is important, because what today's daily close also gives us is we broke out of a range with speed, and this is the 2022 ICT FEG model. Once you break out of a range with speed, this being the range high here, right here, let's go liquidity grab, the very next candle starts the new delivery. So we're not interested in yesterday's daily candle, we're interested in only today's candle, and that would be here, right? This candle starts or begins the new delivery, either upward or downward. But what we know is, if it's bullish, there's an FEG inside here. This is the FEG of yesterday. Together with the opening or the low of this today's daily candle, the low will be used as sell side liquidity. So what needs to happen is, you're going to get a situation where even if it goes more up here, they're going to want to come back in here, take this low out, and dip into this FEG if they want to push a bit higher, right? So that's going to be your first chance, opportunity to buy if we expect it to go higher. Now the question here is, are we going to push straight up to 32, 30, 38K? Let's go and put in, back to a monthly, let's put in a fib tool and fib the range with the drawn liquidity being, let's call it this high here, right? Let's call it, we could call it here, and let's see how this works out. We grade the swing, turn it the other way around. Does that work? No, other way around, sorry. There we go. Right, we could grade the swing that way, or we could grade the swing this way, and we bring that back down to a daily time frame. Let's make all of this gray. Right, so if our drawn liquidity is where we need to push it, put in an up close candle on a monthly time frame, we had speed through the 50% here. There's your 50%, there's the speed through the 50%, which means at the 75% level, which is here, we can expect some kind of stop run to happen. Now, would you remember at 29.2, which was the weekly order block, and 29.2, 29.5 specifically, because we had the opening of the weekly order block right there. Let's draw that in orange. I think I had it in orange there. So that's 29.4 and then 29.2 there, right? So this was the reason why we were looking for 29.2, 29.5, either a tap and a move away. We tapped it here on the 20th of March on this specific exchange. On other exchanges we didn't. Now this entire zone here is an order block, right? I took the opening of the order block because if you think about it, from this point here downward, like I said, was only running on sell side. They need to print a weekly candle that fills in this space here from 29.5 going down. Now, this being a slightly large order block, it's not the best because our wick is way more than our body, and there's a small chance that they run this order block. What we are interested in is the equilibrium of this order block on a weekly level. Do we tap the screen if you're in the chat? Okay, do we close above here? Closing above here on a weekly level is more bullish. Going above it and then closing below, I'd be less bullish on this because we have respected the mean threshold of this order block on a weekly level. Make sense? Drop back down to a daily. At the end of today, we are either going to tap the 75%, which we are just below. It comes in at about 30.6, and we will then look for the stop run if they allow us. We'll look for the stop run lower that takes all the liquidity that was generated here. How low does it go? We can find out. We have an order block sitting all the way down here. Back just above the 50%, we have this order block here. And if it comes all the way down here, again, when we talk about order blocks, we're interested in only the mean threshold. So on a daily level, if it does come all the way back down here, we don't want to see it close below here. Now this model would be type 2, I think, where you had a move up, you had all the liquidity being generated here, failed to tap the order block that's down here, pushes one more up, everybody FOMOs in, and then you get something like this, taps the order block and then moves. Right? We've seen that before. I've shown you this a lot of times. So I'm looking for some sort of weakness after today's daily candle close, because today's daily candle, like I said, closed in the gap or the up candle that needed to be filled at 29,688. Now, when we talk about them needing to fill in or balance by putting in an up candle in a zone and balancing the range, the low of that candle becomes very sensitive, and what happens is if the low of this up candle is taken, then we can consider it cooked, right? It's dead. So we're watching the low here, and especially this FEG that is now formed on a daily level. Any closing below this FEG, and that is a market structure shift. You guys know that. I've been speaking about that for months as well. Closing below opposing FEGs. So if we start to print candles here, like this, and we close below here, we can wick below here, but as soon as we start to close below here like that, it's cooked. Okay? Not sure if we get an opportunity on a retrace, but we'll look to see how we can potentially get back down to this order block sitting here at 25k, and then a possibility of pushing it back up to 46k, right? Or even 38k on a monthly level. Let's hop on over to all of this, and the fractal from this was NAS. Get rid of this. This is the fractal from NAS, right? Overlaid on our accumulation distribution model. You can see that the fractal with NAS had this move going up and then pushing down for one more low before it based and started to take off. So I wouldn't be surprised if BTC does the same thing. Yeah, no problem. ITSI will do NAS as well. I'm going to hide this fractal for just a second. Now, we are, like I said before, we are in one huge accumulation zone until the 26th of May. Within that, we are in the distribution phase of the accumulation phase. You can see here, look at the day, give or take a day or so, at when accumulation finished and manipulation started. So tomorrow is actually the end of the manipulation phase, and we start the distribution phase. So tomorrow is also, I think, CPI. Is it CPI and PPI? Slot, I could be mistaken. I think CPI.
Yeah.
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 So that's going to be interesting for us as well. CPI being at the end of the manipulation phase, where we possibly see that move down that we speak about there. Right, but I need today's, I'm not too worried, I need today's daily candle to close in that level that we spoke about here. Right, it needs to close, it needs to print an up candle in this range at the blue line, and ideally tap the 50% or the 75%, because at the 75%, like I said, you either see, if you grade the swing, if you know the drawn liquidity and you grade your swing, at the 50% you're going to see speed. If you see speed at the 50, you're going to see stop runs happening at the 75. Now I don't expect it to run lower than this low right now if it does that. Coming back, you can see there's a breaker here as well in this area. So coming back here, retesting old highs, right? Old highs become fair value for buying. So it's the only time you are allowed to buy in premium. So let's grade this. Let's grade this as a potential swing here, right? You can see where 50% puts us in this order block and the mean threshold of this order block, right? So even if we just tap it, it's good enough. It's at an old high. Let's zoom in there a bit more. It's at an old high here. Breaker block vibes. We had a down candle being formed at the breaker, pushing down here, tapping here, doesn't have to close, and then we can continue, no problem. Now, on a larger scale, what I want you to be aware of, right? You guys know the models, you've seen the models. Let's go look at NAS, right? And there's several of these happening at the moment. Let's look at the current one on an M15. Let's take a look here. Right. If I had to look at just this part here, right? Let's take from here to here. Copy it over. Put him onto Bitcoin. Cut and paste. Let's go down one level. No valid data on clipboard. Hold on. Copy. Paste. Right. Let's put this guy on here. The model is just, we're not looking at the actual patterns being traded here. We're just looking at how the model is delivered, right? Can you start to see what I'm talking about? You had your accumulation phase, your failure swing, your OLR here. Actually, this is accumulation. There's your failure swing down here. OLR up here. And then price began to push lower, below a low. So if this was the low here on BTC, price pushed all the way down here. And now you got the retracement phase coming in, which we could say is the same for BTC, would be this leg going up here. Now, generally what I do with this model is I like when we see something like this happening, right? And we see that. I generally look for the retracement. Even though you're looking for 50%, we are looking for either breaker. We're looking for any FEGs being formed, right? FEG, FEG. And personally, I look for the 50% of the OLR range here, right? That puts us at 46K. I'm not sure if we get to 46K in this model, but if it wants to go to 46K, I don't think it just pushes straight up. We're gonna get a situation where we eventually do something like that, even lower, and then push up. Now, if you don't believe that price can deliver like that, then let's look at another model quickly. Right, let's consider this as an entirety here. Paste it in here. And let's do something like this now, right? Can you see that? If it's going to go higher, then we had an accumulation phase here on BTC, a failure swing, OLR, they push up. Now look how deep we can expect a retrace to come if it does come, right? After it's done. So here's your, let's zoom in here a bit. Here's your little drop that I'm expecting here. And there's the OLR back up here. After that, look at the possibility of this before continuation. So it's not that we're trading patterns, it's just how price is delivered. So this has tons of liquidity below it. We know that. We know that 16 point...
No?
Hello.
Yeah. I have a question to ask you.
Yeah, no problem.
I will stay in P إذا بقى 20. Would you feed my dogs from the pro?
Who is that? Idris?
Oh, I apologize.
No problem. I'll feed your dogs, no problem.
Apologize.
Just tell me what dog food they like.
Sorry.
Yeah, we don't mind feeding dogs. We like dogs. Right? You remember me telling you that, and I'm going to get to why I don't like the NatGas or the DXY CSD's sloth. You remember me telling you, or in a tweet, that if we were to go down, once we did this, right? Or even here at this point, that too much sideways is never a good thing. If we were to reprice lower, and they haven't repriced lower yet, then the chances are that they aren't going to reprice lower, because if they wanted to go lower and aggressively reprice lower, they would send it lower, right? Why did they accumulate all over here? So this looks like accumulation here, and your failure swing here, and this the OLR. This move up here as an OLR looks better than this here, or this here being an OLR with this huge wick. Now, again, if you're talking about ranges, then what we need to speak about is equilibrium, right? Look at that. If we took from candle body to candle body, here to here, and you could do it on a daily as well. Let's do that on a daily just to make sure. We can send it here, and here looks fine. Consolidation. So consolidation. Remember me saying would bounce off equilibrium. If it breaks, it bounces, or it bounces before it breaks. There's your 50% level here. I think in the chat it was H4, H1. We looked at this order block here, if I'm not mistaken. H4 order block here. And specifically the mean threshold of this order block. Right, price hasn't closed below it, tapped the order block and pushed up. So what this actually gave us, and I haven't been trading, sorry guys, I haven't been around for a week, holidays and whatever. It gave us this, right? Accumulation, failure swing, OLR, push. There's your dealing range from here to here. Put a fib on that. There's your 50%, right? Where was the CSD around the 50% for us to have possibly entered. Now, you guys don't need me, because I've been drilling this into your heads. You guys don't need me to tell you the entry models, but if you were looking at this, your CSD would have happened here, right? You had some consolidation, price broke through, and the candle that traded through is a down candle, was traded through here, that's CSD, off to the races, right? But that's all in hindsight for you guys now. Let's not worry about that. Let's worry about what we can do over here. So today's daily, like I said, I want today's daily candle to close, and then tomorrow to either go slightly up, tap the 75, and then show me a sign to break below 29.6. If we get something like that with conviction, then we'll look all the way down here if they want to. If they fail to close below this daily FEG around here, between here and here, and they just tap it here and then give us a CSD on a smaller time frame, then that'll be your cue to long, because they don't want to aggressively reprice lower. They want to send it a bit higher first, right? So right now we're watching today's daily candle low, and especially today's daily candle closing above the blue line here, where they needed to have printed an up candle in this area. Now, yes sir.
I was gonna say, is tomorrow Ethereum's Shanghai release or something? I think I read something like that.
No idea.
So there's going to be a potential sell the news kind of thing, but
Yeah.
just more garbage
So
to.
what I've been looking at, I don't normally pay attention to it, right? Is this? You have BTC. So this is a similar time frame here. You have BTC making higher highs here, right? Clearly. Why is Ethereum doing this? And what we generally use this is, I normally use it between US 30 and US 100, or US 30 and S&P, or S&P and US 100. A similar asset class showing SMT divergence. So again, depending how this daily candle closes, you can look at the closings of Ethereum here. You get more bullish on Ethereum if they close above there. Right now, not so much. So SMT divergence with ETH. We're looking at today's daily candle low being taken, but not today, tomorrow. Anything after tomorrow, I'm cool with. DXY. DXY doing mad things. We filled in the volume imbalance that we had from forever, right? I think we were all the way up here when we put this guy here, right, Sloth? We had this little magnet tool looking for this to be filled. The only new addition here is this. We had, look at this delivery now, right, from here. Everything below here was sell side. Between here and here, all sell side, right? Which means we know that they need to put in an up candle at some point within this range here, because these were all down candles. And what do they do here? They come in here and they print two up candles here. Now, if you're looking at the start of the new delivery story that I've been telling you, look at this. Here's a high being broken. There's the candle that broke the high. There's the low, which I was talking about, today's daily low, after the very next candle being used as sell side. If you want to think about it in terms of a model, accumulation, failure swing, OLR, push, retrace, continuation. You see that? So the low of the very next candle that broke the high becomes liquidity here. Now, when they moved away from here and they needed to print an up candle inside this area here, which they did, what did they leave behind? They left behind a slight volume imbalance here. If you look, the low, first of all, the low is an up candle, and there's a volume imbalance here. So there's a need for them to print a down candle in this box here. Because in this box, it's running on buy side only. They're actually willing sellers inside this box. So when I tell you, or when I told you this morning, I don't trust the CSD here. We may have taken this low here by this candle giving us a CSD here. I don't trust, because I know this is lying open here. Why aren't they coming in to close it? What are they doing here? They're doing some crazy shit here. I think on a lower time frame I saw some and I don't see it here on my chart, but I saw a crazy spike down on DXY on Twitter at some point, and it looked like just one candle that did this. Try and find that and show it to you. But I don't trust the CSD on DXY just yet. So chances are that this does go at some point and fill this out. This is the level that we want run. We want them to print a down candle, and we want the down candle to be the lowest candle. Let them give us a run like this, and then this, right? Because what's that doing? It's giving us this, 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 this. Let them put another candle in here. Let them spike down on a wick, which gives us the retracement, and then the push away. So we need them to print a down candle in this range here to fix this volume imbalance. Then the dollar can do whatever it wants. Dollar can go on a bull run, no problem. For now, I don't trust. Now, besides that, when we look at the model that we like or love, right? There's a few things you want to be seeing for that model to happen. And one of them is FEGs being traded through. You want to see those FEGs being traded through. So if we had to look at this example here, we had an accumulation, we had a failure swing, we had the OLR, right? In the OLR, we created FEGs here and FEG. Once we trade through the last up candle here, we've got OB validation. Once we close below this FEG, we've got market structure shift. This is a clean model, right? Retracement, continuation. So that's how you'd want to see your model present itself, as almost an A+ setup, where you have this FEG present to indicate to you that there is a market structure shift, there's OB validation, there's all the good things that we like. There they ran buy side, there they ran sell side, there's the dealing range. If you put a fib on this, I'm sure it's just over 50%. There, 50%. If we put a fib from here to here, let's have a look at what this gives us. There, 50% as well, 50% of the OLR leg. So that's the kind of model you want to see. Now, once you start to get a bit shaky in here, look at this area here, right? If this was a CSD and they want to send things higher or reverse from here. What is this reversing from exactly? Okay, we took liquidity here. There's a small failure swing. We took liquidity here. But lowest candles are down candles. The FEG here is super tiny on a 12-hour or daily that I'm looking at, 12-hour. So even though the model may present itself, and you may look at it like this, right? Or even better, if you had, you see on the 12-hour you can't really see it, right? But if we had something like this, it's not clean enough for me to want to put risk on and assume that this CSD is now bullish, considering that the order flow is bearish. Does that make sense, Sloth? Why I said I don't trust?
Yeah. And this is still where I have trouble grasping these things, right? Because
yeah,
I mean we've seen plenty of times where things like that get left behind,
yep,
and it'll make a run, and then it'll come back and
yep,
take it later,
yep,
right? Because you remember, like with nat gas, that was always my original expectation, was that we would have some big, like dead cat bounce, maybe to $4, $4.50,
yeah,
something like that, and then come back and take all those lows down to the 160s, right? So that's, again, it's always this question of, is it going to do it now? Is it going to do it later?
yeah,
We know it's going to come back at some point, but is there going to be a really big run? Like even with Bitcoin, we're looking at a run to maybe the 40s,
yep,
but eventually we're looking at a drop back down to
yep.
4 digits, right? So
It,
the
it,
order of these things is always questionable for me.
and that's, remember I posted a video in the Discord regarding liquidity runs, right?
Right.
And I'll tap into that just now, but look at this, for example, here, right? There's your model presenting itself. You agree? Buy side taken,
Yep.
sell side taken. Retracement was for longing, right? But a nat gas may not be the most prettiest thing to look at, but just this delivery here with the lowest candle being an up candle, immediately I'm sus about that. Even though you had an FEG in here getting traded through, your model is presenting itself. In cases like this, order flow is king. So even here, this is all still too ugly for me. I want to see it go lower. All of this is too ugly. They need to wash someone out, right? And milling around, not doing the job. Let's have a look on a weekly. Yeah, I'd like to see it go a bit lower. I can potentially see this going to here on a weekly level if they wanted to retracement up here, even all the way up here into this volume imbalance. Because remember, in here they need to print an up candle. They printed a down candle. Even all the way up here they need to print a down candle, because there's that volume imbalance again. So at some point this is going to go higher. Does it go higher from here? I don't know. I'm not sure. This in itself is an order block.
Right.
This is going to cap.
And when you zoom out, you can see why I'm so like hung up on that gas, right? These are all just down candles for since like $5, right?
Yep.
So
all down candles. And you know what happens there?
Well, that's going to fill at some point.
Yeah. So what happens there is, like I said, ignore previous delivery. Lately, what I've become interested in, and especially using the theory of them having to print up candles or down candles in specific places, is I'm only concentrating on the most recent delivery. Let's bring this to the front. There, right? That's all I'm worried about. from the highs down. What's that telling me? Even if we did that, right? That's telling me from here to here, all up candles. From here to here, down candles, right? So this range here is balanced. There's no need for them to put an up candle except here. Right here where you have a higher, right here. You see that? Look at the body differences there. So they need to print an up candle in this area. So you know where they're going to go when they start going, right? They're going to go for the highs and print that up candle there.
Yeah.
Here, up, down, up, down, up, down. Here, up to here, everything below, all down candles. So they need to come back here.
Yeah, and that's partially why with this I don't mind being early, right? I can sit on drawdown on this. I'm not taking any leverage, right? It's
yeah,
so,
you could.
But
the potential for this is mad. Because overall you see it presenting itself anyway, right? The possibility is there. Especially in this area here where say we only took this here as the model. Them leaving this and not coming into this order block here. This is all liquidity, which if they've taken. But we want them to come into this order block right here. All the down candles here. And I like that the lowest candle is a down candle here. We like that. That's okay.
Yeah. So we don't need to make a new low. So
we don't need to make a new low. In fact, we don't need to even, like I said, we don't need to come lower than the 50% of this order block, which is the red level. We just need them to give us a neat enough model, even if they have to do this for a little bit. We want to see them do that. Or even if they did 2 candles, right? Create the FEG here, then take the FEG and do that. We don't have to find the bottom. We just have to find the change in the state of delivery here.
Yeah.
So right now, don't trust. Right. Even here, this delivery is all shit, to be honest. Look at NAS, it's all shit delivery. The fact that they've broken, here's your model here, right? And I wouldn't be surprised if they do come back all the way up here. Let's go 50% of that. If they come back to around 13.1, but there's a small chance, very tiny chance, that Tuesday has put in the high of the week. So Tuesday works as accumulation, Monday, Tuesday. And Wednesday is the manipulation phase, which sends it lower, like that. Right? And then Thursday, Friday, retraced into next week, and then continue if they want to go higher, right? Because there's your model showing it showing up for work, accumulation, failure swing, OLR, push, retrace, continuation. Now, if you remember a few days ago, let's talk about this as well, right? Because we spoke about it on BTC. Here's the high here. Here's the candle that closed through the high. I'm not even talking breaking, we're talking closes, right? Breaking means nothing for this particular model to work. We need a close above the high. The very next candle's low is what? It's liquidity. So that is why when I come back and I talk about BTC, there's the candle that broke the high. There's the very next candle's low. Anything dipping back into this FEG and not closing below is bullish. Closing below, bearish. So the low of today's daily candle is like a double-edged sword, because We know there's liquidity below it, but at the back of my mind, knowing that 29.6 needed an up candle to fill in there, and once we take that low, it's probably cooked, makes me think that that's on the way. Now, if we look at the same theory, everything from here, this line, going up, all running on buy side, right? All up candles. And this is why I said that they need to start printing down candles. Need to print a down candle here, which is why I would like them to bring it down here, print a down candle in this FEG here, close here, and go higher if they want to. So tomorrow is going to be important, decide on direction. We still haven't completely closed the volume imbalance on NAS here. If you look up here, look at it closely as well. Everything above here, all running on buy side. Volume imbalance here to here, which means they need to print down candles in this area and close the volume imbalance. How do they print down candles in this area unless they go higher? They can't possibly print a down candle here unless they go higher, right? Unless you're telling me they come here, just close here, close off the volume imbalance, wick above here. This is an up candle. The very next one is a down candle, and then they continue lower. I don't see them doing that. But we know at the back of our head that this needs to be resolved from here to here. A down candle needs to be printed there. So we're looking for the model here, here. There's your down candles printing, and there. So that's what we look for on NAS. Any other stuff you guys want to look at? Here's the OP USDT that one of the guys posted in Discord. It went a bit lower. Not sure it stops where it is right here. But you can see the model is now presenting itself again, right? Look at the cleanness of the model, Sloth. Here's the OLR and here's the FEG we spoke about, or we speak about. That gives us market structure shift. Now compare how this looks in terms of the delivery as opposed to nat gas here, right where we are right now, or even DXY where it is right now. Not so clean. Not so clean at all. I actually would have wanted DXY to go a bit lower, to be honest with you, where this is the accumulation, this was the failure swing, and we do something like that, right? And then we push higher, or higher like this, because that looks like a massive dollar bull run, and probably the last for a while. Now maybe China, Russia news, who knows what happens. But if the dollar is going to take a hiding, then the big boys are going to need to get out at some point, right? And the only time they get out is not when the dollar is weak, when the dollar is in strength. mean, why would they want to sell their assets on a weak dollar? They'll just turn the machine on, right? Turn the machine on, let it do its thing, and then send it to hell. So we'll check on this again tomorrow. Even gold, this is not overtly, I won't be overtly bearish on what's going on gold right now. Unless we get back in here and below here.
Yeah, can you look at silver? I feel like if precious metals are going to be bullish,
Yeah,
silver will outperform just because it's been lagging forever now. So
we can have a look at silver. Silver is XAG. Let's start off silver on a monthly and then we'll scale it down. Jeez, looks like a crypto shitcoin, starting to look a bit like LTC or something. Right.
it's just a big cup and handle, right? We're going to
Yep.
$1,000.
Yep. What's the measurement on that? Is it from the base? Shit. Imagine silver being that price from the base to the top, projected 100%. Is that right? $100. I won't say 1,000. Look more like 100. From there to there, projected up there, right? Could be mistaken. Silver. Look at silver as well, right? If we ignored any of this, again, visual order bring to front, then most of this is all balanced, right? Let's zoom in here. Balanced. Look at this now, right? The need for them to print an up candle in this area. Look at that. You see it? They print it here. Because from this point down was running on buy side. So they needed to print an up candle in this at this low here to balance it off. And then they leave the range. Right, let's look at something else now. If this is the candle that broke the range, then the very next candle or the low of the very next candle is that guy. You agree?
Yeah.
If this is the candle that broke the range. This is the candle that starts the new delivery. They wick through it for liquidity and they send it down. Now if this is a monthly start of a new delivery, if they had to come back, where would they come back to? About here, right? Or even a need to print up candle there. Let's call it blue. Let's go. Look at that. See that?
Yep.
They've done the job. They've done the job. So the question here is, do they need to go any higher? They don't. Not right now. Not right now. They've come in and tapped the order block here. This low is a down candle on a monthly. Let's go down to a weekly. Okay, it's on a weekly, it's a down candle. That's fine. Now watch this now, right? Everything here, let's zoom in here. I don't know why I had this box, but we'll take it out. In this delivery here, all down candles. They needed to print up candles. They did that perfectly. Everything above here, let's take this level out, or let's just convert this level to blue. Everything above there is up candles, right? Buy side delivery. So what did they need to have to do on a weekly level to balance this range out? They need to print down candles. Look at that. They've done the job there as well. Not the prettiest of entry models on a weekly, but low being taken, CSD, and it's gone. If we had to look at anything in this range, I would look on a weekly level. They've done the job here. I'd start to look. Let's take a look at it, right? Nothing imbalanced down here, all the way up here. This balanced out. Notice this down candle didn't close there, right? What did they do here? They printed down candle. Now it's balanced. They leave. Now, here's what I want you to understand. They need to, let's zoom in here a bit more. Because again, it's going to go back to what I said on BTC. They need to print a down candle in this range. You agree with that? Because this down candle still left a small gap in there. So they come here, they print the down candle. The high of that down candle becomes sensitive because once it gets taken, what happens? Speed and death. Go back to what I told you on BTC. They need to print an up candle here. Once we take the high or the low of that up candle or the down candle, it's cooked. Because they've now balanced the range. So they've done the job here, they've balanced it out, and they're gone. So on a weekly level, where would I say something needs to happen? About here? Right there. Print some down candles there. Even if you go down to a daily, let's have a look. I'd look at down candles being printed around here for buy. Right here. So you know where you need to buy. If you're looking at silver, long term, it'll be here. There, right there. Because they don't need to go any lower. You agree with that? They've already done whatever they needed to do on a high time frame, monthly, weekly, all of that. Everything in here is balanced. There's no need for them on those levels to go any lower than what they've done, except here. Everything above here running on buy side. So we need them to do this. Now here's where you get in. If you want them to form order blocks at your level, right? Order blocks being down candles. And then you want them to take the order block, or the low, or the high of the lowest closing down candle. You want them to take that high, maybe bounce off this level, and then go. So that's all you need to do on silver. When we start to think about things in terms of ranges and efficiency or inefficiency, you can see how powerful a tool, the need for them to have to balance the range out. Like we know at this point, everything is running on buy side. They need to come back down here and print down candles because all of this is up candles. All running on buy side delivery. No sellers were given an opportunity, so they are willing sellers inside here that need to sell. And these guys who shorted need someone to sell so they can buy back, right? So they come here, they print the down candles, they give the CSD, and they're gone. So that's what we need to look at. Because if you look at the resistance runs or liquidity runs that I showed you the video of, right? The difference between high resistance and low resistance. Like at this point coming down here was fairly low resistance, right? There weren't too many retracements here that gave us any sort of resistance, as opposed to if they did something like this and went here and then did something like this and did something like this, right? That would be more high resistance because of all the highs and lows being printed in here. This would not have had the chance to have taken all of them. But if it's low resistance like this, this is where speed comes in, because they're coming back to where they need to balance the range, break a block, the need to want to print up candles in here, and it happens with speed. Low resistance liquidity runs. Yeah, so that's a new one for you. The need to want to print candles to balance the range. Anything else you guys want to look at? I don't know what's happening on TikTok. Are you guys there? Not there? Not sure. Yeah.
Listen, can we have a look at USD GBP?
Sure, I can try. It's not something that I. Who am I speaking to first of all?
SMT, bro.
SMT. Hey, brother. What's
Yeah.
up? Hold on 1 second. You want GBP USD or USD GBP? Because I think I did both for you previously, right?
Oh God, hold on. Just a long-term outlook.
I think it was
hold
USD GBP. I think you use it in terms of USD GBP, right? Not GBP USD.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. GBP USD. Yeah. No. USD GBP. Sorry, bro. Getting confused.
Yeah. Now, remember I told you I sent you this little thing here in a DM, right? Last week.
Yeah, that played out perfectly.
Yeah. So I told you at this point none of this existed, right?
Yeah. None of that existed yet.
None of this existed at this point. Why am I even doing this? We were here, right?
Yeah.
Right here. And I told you is if they've taken a low here, if this candle here gets traded through, that gives us a change in the state of delivery, which means they've now programming to move from running on sell side to running on buy side. So they've done that now, right? Let's get rid of this. They've done that there. Let's bring it down a few notches. The lowest candles here are down candles. Are they the prettiest of down candles? Is this the prettiest of moves? Not quite. we'd want them to maybe come in here. Let me just think about this in terms of what that means for you, right? Because if USD is headed higher, that means it costs more USD to buy a pound, right? Right. So that means
It's less though. If USD is going up, if dollar dominance is going up, right?
yeah, no. So, but this
And
is costing you 80 cents at the moment per pound. If it
yeah,
goes
for a
higher,
dollar,
it's
yeah.
costing you 84 cents.
Yeah, sure.
Right. Okay. So let me just wrap my head around this for a second, because this is actually happening in inverse with, and I think I posted this to you, GBP USD,
Mm-hmm.
where they've taken the high. Let's look at it this way. They've taken the high, they've printed an up candle. There's a market structure shift, which means the program has shifted from buy to sell on GBP USD. Let's go market structure shift. Right, they've taken the low of the candle. There's your inverse. The red line was the low of the candle that took the highs, has now been taken. So if they're moving lower, that means it costs them less pounds to buy a dollar, right?
Yeah.
So that's pound strength, dollar weakness. Am I right?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
What's your long term? I mean, we're talking like your outlook for the next year. What are you seeing?
If you look at this for the next year, right? These are relative equal lows all the way down here, all the way up here. And if we, this little bit here makes me think that this happens somewhere here and then we start to head up a bit more. So costing you more pounds to buy a dollar. And that ties in with the fact that we expect a small retracement on DXY, like we said. We want DXY to come down a bit, following that volume imbalance. So if DXY is weak, that means the pound is strengthening. And then DXY shoots up, which dollar strength, pound weakness, pound goes up against the dollar. So very short term, you're going to see strength in the pound, but overall it's going to be pound weakness against the dollar.
Yeah, perfect, bro. Yeah, I kind of regret the opportunity when it was pretty much close to 1-to-1 and I didn't sell out.
Yeah, that would have been a perfect opportunity right
It
there.
was, yeah, it was just horrible, man. Just like literally got busy with work. You know how I get busy with
Yep,
work
I
and I
know.
have to drop everything.
Now,
I knew I had to sell and I was just like, I'll do it. And then my mind got lost in work and I was like, fuck you know, that was like, what,
yeah,
80 grand, 90 grand
Yep.
lost just like that.
Yep, it happens. Now, here's the same theory, SMT, where the low gets taken, right?
Mm-hmm.
The candle that takes the low is this guy. And this is on a weekly, so I'll ignore this being a down candle on the weekly. But there's a problem right here on, and it may not fix. It doesn't have to fix now, but it will fix at some point in the future. There's the high of the candle that took the low. Let's make him red. As soon as you see something like this happening, where they're printing down candles, they're taking liquidity, and then the high of that down candle gets taken. That's a change in the state of delivery from sell side to buy side. You see that? So
Yeah,
this is on
yeah.
a larger time frame we're talking about. You are only interested in like a dot or a drop of pee in the ocean is where you are right here. It's like something insignificant on the higher time frames. Now, anything down here needing to be filled would only be here in the future, where they send it all the way back down here. In fact, probably even lower on, but it doesn't have to happen now, and I doubt it happens now, because all of this, think about all of this, right? relative equal highs, high, 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 what's going to happen? They're going to want to take all of them. All of that. Everyone's shorting the dollar since COVID. Then they can do something like this. These are all relative equal lows on a very high time frame. You see that? So when the dollar eventually fails, round about here, you're going to see that happen. It's probably going to dip back below 1:1. But for the next few years, I think, or maybe a year or two, probably see dollar strength in that. We expect one last hurrah on the dollar. And you can see it here, where we've been saying this for quite a while. They've done this, and we're treating this as some sort of corrective phase to whatever happened here. And once they take the high here, which was the high before they broke the low, then we can start to think dollar weakness there, like that. It's crazy, but that's what we're looking for. So dollar strength coming in, pound weakness, and whether it's a year or two from now, that's going to happen. Yeah.
Then we 3x long NAS and
That's
go
it.
away.
Everything. Walk away. Walk away.
Yep.
Walk away. Dollar strength coming in soon. Within the next month or so, it's going to be crazy. Because it's going to look so bullish, but you and I know it's the last hurrah. Because they'll take this high, they'll play around here, it'll give us what we want. Yeah, that's it, boys. So tomorrow, let's see what today's low, if it gets taken or not. And let's look at it this way, right? Let's look at it this way. At this point, everything above was buy side. You agree? What did they need to do? Print down candles in this range. What did they do? They printed a down candle. Then they took the high of the down candle and they were gone. So same story here. Let's shift this guy to here. Everything above here is running on buy side. What do they need to do? Print a down candle here, take the high of the down candle, and then gone. But if they print the down candle here and they then take the low of that down candle, then you're going to see something like that. Because you've got this sitting here and there. So very important what happens first. That down candle, that print, whether it's high or low, gets taken. But we know for sure that they're going to have to come in and print a down candle in this area here, 24.8, 24.5. Watch it. I'm telling you, watch it. And I've shown you, I think I've shown you enough evidence of this being true, where the range needs to be balanced.
So if we're looking for shorts, right, we're basically in our range, the OB right now.
Yeah.
So we're just looking for continuing to push up a little bit higher.
Yeah. All we're looking for
Then look
is
for
market structure shift, or let them put in a high. Even if you want to go H1, you want to go M15, whatever it is, right? Whatever it is. This, taking this, ugly setup, right? Not interested in this. But if they go beat around the bush like this, right? And then we get this. And then we get this. Now we're cooking. Buy side, sell side, retracement, gone. Especially if they give us FVGs inside here, which now get closed through. Let them retrace. That's where your short comes. And if we're looking at timing again, let's go here on the larger cycle or scheme of things. Wednesday, April 23rd is the end of the manipulation cycle and the start of the distribution cycle of the larger accumulation phase. Right? We come here, we distribute a bit. Do we do that? Do we head down first and then this becomes the manipulation phase? So we had, if you think about it here, this price action is this. We are here. Do they manipulate like this first and then distribute higher like that? Because what's that giving us? Accumulation, failure swing, OLR, push, retrace, continuation. So very important what happens in the next few days. If we lose 25k, if 25k holds, we'll make a push for it for at least 32 or higher. If we lose 25k, then maybe cooked to go lower. So tomorrow's daily candle is going to be very important. Okay, that wraps it up for today, gentlemen. We are at 1 hour 16. I'm going to post this onto YouTube. And then we'll take it from
Thanks,
there.
boss.
Cheers. Thanks, guys.